Radio K, Real College Radio. We are joined in studio for an interview with local screamo band Lovergirl. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves and give us your names and your instruments?
I'm Sophia, and I play bass.
My name's Angie, and I play the drums.
I'm Elena, and I play guitar, and we all do vocals too, at intermittent times.
A little bit of a Radio K rarity on that set. You guys played just one song, so tell us about that song. What do we just hear?
We just heard the final song on our EP that we just put out. That song was called Flashbulb. It wasn't originally supposed to be that long when we wrote it. Originally, it was started out with 8 minutes or something, and then after our first few shows, we all got together in the practice space, and we were like, okay, we have to do something about this unruly song, and we did, and it came out of that practice being 12 minutes long, and I'm not really sure how it started being that long, because I remember it started having the first section of the song that's I always say that song is a song, 4 minutes of song and 9 minutes of outro. So it started with 4 minutes of song, and then somewhere, somehow, some way it got appended the 9 minutes of outro, and then it just became our nice 12-minute song, and everybody loves it. So we were like, that's the one we have to play.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever played a show without playing Flashbulb.
No.
It's a favorite of mine for sure. It's
Get closer.
Oh, that was the end of my thought.
Yeah, that's Flashbulb. It's a very emotional song for us to play, a very cathartic song for us to play. It's the most, I don't know, ending the set with it has always been very special for us. Just sort of all the anxious energy that builds up when you are playing a show, to be able to release it all in that way.
Yeah, I saw you guys at Seward, and that was a really for the release show, and that was a really special moment, when you guys played that.
Yeah, that was incredible. Just a minute after the song was over, of everybody just sitting on the ground and listening to the amps feedback. That was, I don't know, that's a moment that will stick with me for a long time.
And on a separate, kind of completely separate note, how did you guys start playing music together? How did Lovergirl start?
Well, we're all sort of in various music projects around the Twin Cities. Lovergirl's kind of a side project, so to speak. We all, had other mainstay bands. Sometime in 2023, I caught the screamo bug, and I wanted to start a screamo band, and I had been moonlighting in Sophia's band as a lead guitarist for a couple of shows, and that was a really great experience, and we really liked working together. And I had decided that I wasn't going to be in that band full time, but that I wanted to keep making music with Sophia. So I invited Sophia to come join the screamo band that I was starting, and then we knew Angie from around the music scene here in the Twin Cities, and we invited her to practice. And it was just a perfect fit, and then everything kind of went from there.
Yeah. And then for I guess all of you are in other projects. What makes Lovergirl different?
Screamo.
The screaming mostly.
We're in a lot of punk, hardcore kind of stuff. So Lovergirl is a bit different in that, to me, Lovergirl is a lot more hardcore is emotional, that kind of thing, like Ian Mackay said, but Lovergirl is a lot more cathartic, a lot more conceptual, I feel. And I feel with Lovergirl there's a lot more freedom to kind of do whatever we want outside of confines of genre in a sort of way, whereas in a hardcore band I feel like you're kind of restricted to making sort of hardcore kind of sounds. But Lovergirl is cool, super cool and freeing in that way.
I think, yeah, the main word I would describe our project is cathartic. Definitely has been pushing me out of my comfort zone a lot. Elena has been writing basically all of our riffs, and she's just like a riff master. But she's been really pushing me to try out new time signatures specifically. Not much with Flashbulb. That one's just in 4. But there's been so many times where I listen to a demo that she sent over, and I'm like, I literally have to like take notes, just to like figure out what's going on, which has been really fun because it's been pushing myself a lot to experiment. You know, I feel like I've learned a lot through Lovergirl about my own instrument.
Yeah, you kind of just touched on this, but what does the songwriting process for Lovergirl look like? And like, what are your guys' big influences?
So far, our songwriting process has looked like Elena making a batch of demos on just guitar, and then we will get into the practice space with them, and sort of make I don't know, sort of make like a skeleton of what different parts we want to do during the song. And then from there, we will like get a recording of that, and we'll write lyrics later, and then just spend practices getting used to like it's really hard to scream and play an instrument at the same time, so it takes a lot of practice with every song to be able to sort of do both of those at the same time. But yeah, Elena provides a lot of the riffs, and then I don't know, I feel like a lot of the songwriting I do is, other than lyrics, is being like, oh, maybe we should do this part 3 times instead of 4, and just like little things like that.
Influences wise, I mean, we kind of take a lot from the sort of like queer screamo scene that's been popping up in the last like 10 years or so. A really big band for us is there was this local screamo band that I think was around for like couple like a year or two, maybe about 5 years ago, called Dana Sterling. And they have a really good EP called Departure that came out in like 2020, I think. And I think that was one of the original things that I sent to you when I was like, here's kind of like what I want the project to be a little like. I don't really think we sound like that, but there's like a sort of polyphony and like multi-voice thing going on in that album that was a big influence on what we do with Lovergirl. And I mean, as like a transgender screamo band, of course, we're like really big fans of Riot 9 from Milwaukee. That was kind of one of the bands that I heard and was like, oh, I have to start a screamo band now. And some other bands that we like a lot are like, you know, like I Hate Sex and Awake But Still in Bed and that kind of thing. Oh, and Foxtails. I like Snag from Milwaukee a lot too. They're really cool.
And you guys just put out your first album. I Felt Just Like You Were Alive, that came out in August of last year. What did the like recording and writing process for that specifically look like?
Oh, gee. I mean, that thing came together over several years. It was kind of just basically every song that we had up to that point when we went into the recording studio that went in to that album. But as we were like sort of writing all the songs, we were sort of trying to tie it together like conceptually, and it kind of started to coalesce around all these themes that we had going on in our lives at that time, which was a lot about like, you know, being transgender in the United States and the current era that we're living in right now. There's a lot of death on that record because there's been a lot of death in our lives recently. Recording, we did that with our good friend Kaylin Greider, the People's producer. She records like a lot of bands in the scene, does a really good job. A lot of times we're like, I don't really know what we would do without her because we would be forking over like thousands of dollars for a studio, whereas we can just make her soup and then she'll put the record out for us. But that was recorded over a series of like 8 months, and it was really nice to be able to fine tune it until we were really happy with it, and then we got to put it out, and the response that we've had has been fantastic so far. Does anyone want to add to that?
Yeah, I'll say that for the process, because we were able to just kind of show up whenever we wanted and could get time with Kaylin. I like nothing is the original recording on that record. Everything was tracked again, if not like again and again. And that was really awesome to have all of like to have so much freedom to be able to really hone in the vocal performances on that record. because that was something that none of us had any experience with, was like recording our own screaming. And we were all, I don't know, we all wanted to make sure it sounded great. And I think it did. I think it's a really good sounding record. And I think that we got all the performances we wanted on it.
Shout out Kaylin, literally the GOAT.
Shout out PPK.
Recording was very comfortable because we did it right in our practice space. We just had, I mean, that practice space also hosts like 5 other bands, so we had like more than enough gear in there. But yeah, it was really great to record with Kaylin, and she got us like rough mixes and masters, and like just like I remember getting rough mixes like a day and a half after we recorded everything, and I was like, how did you do this? You have like a job. Like, how were you so quick? Yeah, she was she's just a master.
And you guys went on your first tour right after putting out that record. How was that? How'd that come about? What did booking it look like?
Oh, that was really great. We have a friend named Miri who's in UDaemon, and she was doing she was gonna be a gigging musician with Ami Okama, this band that our friend Aki is like the front person of. And they were doing like this really big tour in September. And at some point, the idea just came up to like ask her, be like, hey, could we hop on a few dates for that tour? And we did. And she said, yeah. And we got to play a couple shows with Ami Okama on her tour. And we were able to go down to like Kansas City and Iowa City and play. And then we decided to set up a few other shows around that in Indianapolis and Milwaukee. And it was really fun. I mean, going out on the road and sharing your music with new people and meeting new people and seeing new places is always great. Seeing what scenes are like in other cities. It's one of the best parts about being in a band, for certain.
Did you guys have any good stories from tour? Any favorite stops?
Gates Barbecue in Kansas City was my favorite. I got the number 7 with fries and extra sauce and then pickles on the side.
If you're going to Gates Barbecue in Kansas City in State Line, Kansas, you really got to know what you're getting, because they'll like yell at you like, what do you want?
Front of house is a little tense. They see a lot of business, so they're very like quick, you know.
Sauce, though, is to die for.
But the sauce is to die for. Yeah, you can tell they smoke it in house. Anyways, that was my favorite memory from tour. Tour was so wonderful and heartwarming. It was basically a sleepover every night with my friends.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you guys have any favorite shows? Favorite places you played on tour?
I mean, in Kansas City, getting to play with Missouri Executive Order 44 was really, really cool. Yes. We got to play in Indianapolis, or not, we got to play in Bloomington, Indiana with our good friends Bleeder, and love them. They're great. We got to play with our friends This World Is Not Kind in Iowa City. It was just a great time.
Mindful, too.
Mindful was really good. They were sick. And the show we played here at Seward was also great. Got to play with Anita and Falling with Scissors. It's really so many people.
And you guys are going on another Midwest tour in April with Viscacha from Milwaukee. How did that come about?
We've been I've been good friends with Bethany and Cleo from Viscacha for a good number of years, and they told me a couple years ago that they were putting a screamo band together, and since we had Lovergirl together, I was always like, well, you know, we kind of basically have to go on a tour together, and now that they're established and we're established, I, you know, called them up and cashed in on it and got that tour booked, and it's going to be great. It's going to be so fun. I'm so excited. Some of those shows that we have on that tour, I'm like, those are crazy. I can't believe that they're happening.
Like, how are we on this?
How are we on this? How did I make this happen? Or how did we make this happen? It's because Bethany did a lot of help too and that kind of stuff.
And yeah, on the note of like touring, Minneapolis has a super notable scene. What do you think separates it from other screamo scenes?
I don't know. There's just like a lot of things that I've seen when I've gone on tour in the bigger cities is a lot of people have said things like, well, you know, in bigger cities like Chicago and New York, there's a lot of more things to do, whereas in Minneapolis, not to like make a dig at Minneapolis or anything, but there's certainly not like as many like other things that are going on. But I don't know. There's a lot of the people here are really tapped into the scene, really tapped into going to shows, and I think that when you have a big audience to play to, that's a very big motivating factor to get like people to like, you know, devote more to the craft of making music. And like practice it and get really good at what they do. And we have some really talented people that live here and make music. And I think just the sort of, I think, enthusiasm that we have in Minneapolis around the scene is one of the things that cultivates the great vibe that we have here.
And we have one question we like to ask every band that comes in for an OTR. If you guys could play a bill, any venue you want, with 5 bands, dead or alive, what would that bill look like?
We're gonna put the Cars on it. We're gonna put La Dispute on it. We're gonna, I don't know. Those are my 2.
Wait, hand it back to me. Here's my dream show to play. My dream show to play would be with Snag from Milwaukee, Viscasha from Milwaukee, The World in Broken Glass from Chicago, and What It Felt Like from Chicago, and it would be at Empty Bliss in Chicago, and it would be on April 23rd, 2026, in Chicago, Illinois, and that would be a really crazy show to see and attend. Angie, do you have one?
Weird Al.
Weird Al Screamo would go crazy.
Well, final question: what shows you guys have coming up, and is there any releases or anything else coming down the pipeline?
Next Friday, we're playing Rage and Reset at the Pillar Forum. The Friday after that, we're playing in Kansas City at Howdy for our friend Carol's birthday with her band Vicar Amelia. U Damon from Minneapolis is also going to be there. March 21st, we're playing at the Seward Cafe with Ami Okama and Haley Elizabeth. And then there's a secret show that we're playing on March 28th that hasn't been announced yet. And then in April, we're going on tour with Viscaccia, and we're so excited for all these shows. Can't believe this is my life.
April 22nd at the Seward Cafe.
April 22nd at the Pillar Forum at the Pillar Forum. This is why I get paid the big bucks.
Well, there you go. Thanks for coming on, and you've all been listening to Lover Girl on Radio K, Real College Radio.